Art of the Kickstart, Episode 18.
Welcome to the artofthekickstart.com, where entrepreneurs are constantly pushing the envelope to build businesses of greatness. Inventors are innovating and creating the products of the future, and backers stand strong for what they believe. These are some of the great thinkers, inventors, and leaders of our time. Here are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to Art of the Kickstart. Today I'm extremely excited to have Sam Pierce on the line, sharing the story of how he's making bike rides smooth. Thanks so much for coming to the program today, Sam.
Thank you very much, Matt.
So I like to kick all these interviews off with a success quote and motivation quote, something that you live your life by and our listeners can learn from. You got anything good?
Yeah, basically I just do one thing well. So don't get distracted, just do one thing well. When you've done that one thing well, do another thing well.
That's a great thing to hear. I always get distracted. There's that like shiny object syndrome entrepreneurs have. You always want to do a million things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about you, Sam, about your story? How did you get into creating products, building something amazing, and using Kickstarter?
Yeah, sure. So my background is I got a degree in engineering, but as I was doing that degree, I realized that I wasn't one of these people who go and redesign nuclear power stations. I was more interested in how the thing worked and the aesthetics and the industrial design side. So I did a second degree in that. And then I worked for some pretty big companies in the UK just as their engineering designer. And then about 96, I decided to set up my own business, consulting into people and just offering my skills in that way.
So you've been consulting for a while, you get this experience building products, and eventually you feel this tingling, you want to make your own, you want to be like a full-blown inventor?
Yeah, so people employed me generally to get them out of trouble with their designs, mechanisms that I could help make work better or have a different view on it. And I also create my own patents, so I actually did my own patent, protected it, and then I'd go and license it or sell it to specific industries. So that was my background, and then I had this idea for this wheel, and it was so crazy. I thought, I can't do anything about that at the moment because it just is so off the wall. And then gradually over the years, I thought, maybe I should make a prototype, and then maybe I should invest some money in a better prototype, and then maybe I should reconfigure my company to just focusing on the wheel, and then maybe I should just stop consulting and become a manufacturer. And that's what I've done.
So it sounds like it was a long process. How did you actually come up with the idea? Where were you? Can you tell us a little bit of the story?
Yeah.
Everyone loves that.
So I was consulting into a company in Holland. So I was just flying in there once a month, and I just had a hard day with work. And I was sitting at the airport, about to come home, waiting for my flight, and I noticed this woman pushing a buggy, a child pushchair across the concourse, and it had some really big springs on it. Really big suspension, but as soon as she hit the curb, the child was flung forward, and I thought, well, you've got all this suspension, but it's not working in all directions. And I thought, well, why can't a wheel have the suspension in all directions? And I did a little sketch in my day book, and just that was it for about 3 years. It was as simple as that.
And it's such an awesome design that you had for loop wheels for the product. You are essentially having radial support in all directions, which is kind of what bikes need. And your focus is primarily towards smaller bikes, correct? Where'd you come up with how you wanted to implement your designs?
Okay, so I asked around, and people said, these don't go for the big wheel bikes straight away. These 20-inch wheel bikes, commuter bikes, they don't have anything. So if you can make your suspension system works there, you've got a nice niche market. And it's not a massive market, but it's a great startup market.
Okay, fair enough. So you've got this idea and you're going forward with it. You've gotten some support from people. What'd you do to test your product out once you decided I need to kind of really go for this?
Yeah, so I would say, the idea took about 20 seconds. The development took another 6 years.
Invention.
So first of all, the springs are a carbon composite. So first of all, I made the first ones. And then I found someone who could make really good ones. And from that, we must have made 60 or 70 different versions of that spring to get it so it has a nice feel in compression. but laterally, when you move the wheel from side to side, it's really stiff. And once we got to that point, we've got something now.
When's it ready to sell to people? Entrepreneurs, they're always scared. They've created something amazing, but they don't want to show it to people and get that negative feedback. When do you start showing this to bikers, people that might be interested?
Yeah, for quite a while under NDA, we showed it to some people in the industry, and it was interesting. The response was always positive, but it wasn't necessarily that they'd go away and do a joint venture and we'd go and make loads of money. It was always positive, but it was high risk for them. So we realized that there's nothing wrong with the technology. It's just a brand new technology.
What's your manufacturing cost like compared to a regular wheel?
Our manufacturing costs are very high because we're actually making a consumer product using high-end carbon composite springs. And we've got 3 of them. So that's where the cost is, and it's very labor intensive, and we can't think of any way of shortcutting that area, because we've got a spring now that over 10,000 miles has to stretch and compress 22 million times.
Wow. Yeah, you've got to have basically the fatigue life on it. How do you deal with that? You're selling something and you have a great product. How do you sell it? It needs to be sold into a higher or a luxury market, I'm assuming, to justify the pricing. How do you get that out to customers and explain the value? How do you make it shine?
I think for now we're the first people there with the loop wheel, and everyone can access our YouTube videos and see what it can do. And we've invested a lot in the testing. How do we access the high end? People come to us with requests, and we say, can we fit their high end product? And generally we can.
When did you decide that it was time to put aside, I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but put aside your consulting, the other stuff you were doing to pay the bills, and really focus on this 100%? When should entrepreneurs tune in?
I think entrepreneurs should actually keep their 2-3 jobs going for as long as they can, because as soon as you stop consulting and the clock starts ticking on bringing in revenue, breaking even, making profit, and that's the hardest thing. Is yes, you can launch, you can be selling product, but you need some money to live on. So I would say we had to do it because actually I just ran out of hours in the day. So we decided to stop consulting. But I would say keep all your options open for as long as you can, just for money coming in.
So why did you guys go with crowdfunding and Kickstarter to get this launched?
There's some pretty expensive. Well, firstly, it's a fantastic way of getting your idea seen by the world. So there may be some guy in Australia who's got a Dahon who wants some cool wheels who will back us. There may be someone in Germany. There may be someone in Ireland. There may be someone down the road. So it's a great way of getting some good PR. But we needed £40,000 to pay for all the tooling.
How did you get your campaign out in front of people? You talk about these people around the world, but what are you doing to make sure you don't just fall into the pit of Kickstarter products? How do you shine and make people see it?
I think it's quite an eye-catching product.
It is an eye-catching product. That's part of the reason I just reached out.
Yeah, I think we got lucky because it's an eye-catching product. We didn't think too much about it, and we did a lot of pre-hype, social media, Twitter, Facebook, to try and build a little bit of momentum behind it. But also we launched it on the back of a bike show. So we went to a bike show on the weekend before. We got lots of people interested and kind of launched it on the Monday after the bike show. So you had a very successful Kickstarter campaign about 1.5 years ago. What have you guys been doing since then to parlay the success, to keep it going and really keep your business running? So it was May last year we did the Kickstarter, and then we started to get the tooling in and the components in September, October, and so it took us till start of January this year to get everyone's bikes built and wheels built and sent out to them. And then we also got our online website where people can buy the bikes and the wheels from us here. We then start to look for distributors around the world. I've been working on new variants, so it's quite interesting that when you do something, Kickstarter campaign, and you get everyone can have a view on it. Everyone can send us a message and say, why aren't you doing a derailleur, or why aren't you doing this version or that version? And quite quickly we understood where potential new markets would be. So we then look at what people are telling us, and then we start trying to develop wheels for those markets as well. So that's what we've been doing, really.
So is that the plan, to keep taking this innovative idea of the loop wheel, the different spring setup with carbon springs essentially, and pivot that into other markets?
Yeah, definitely.
So you've got this, and from what I hear from inventors, creators, they're great at creating something. They're not as great at managing it a lot of the time. Do you have trouble once you launch something new and innovative to keep the business running?
We've got a very good team of people working with us who do that. But yet I spend a lot of time not being creative now, which is fine. I'm quite happy to do that because I can understand the end goal, what we're trying to do, where we're trying to go with it, and the fact that this technology could fit on any wheel. You know, it's not just for bikes, and that's the focus in my mind. Is I'm an inventor, entrepreneur, but also I've got to become a businessman and protect this and grow this company to its maximum potential, and that keeps you on track and away from diversions.
Usually I'd advocate not going the patent route for a lot of Kickstarter entrepreneurs, but with what you made, it really is something that actually is very innovative. I'm guessing you went IP, you got a patent on this?
Yeah, we've got patents on this. We've got design registration. We've got trademarks on the name. We've got copyrights. We've got everything we can because of my background in IPR creation. So we understood you can't get a watertight patent on this. You can get pretty good patents. But we also understand the limitations of patents. There's no point having a fantastic patent and no money to develop product.
What are you going to do? This, for me personally, and I'm not sure what you're thinking, but this feels something you could license out to the big guys. It's better than what they have. Is that something you're pursuing?
I think my view is it's going to take a few years to roll out and for people to understand that it's not just a little wheel on a little bike. It's a brand new way of thinking about suspension, and it's for us to roll it out and then to get people's interest and to almost take in their views and work with them on integrating into their products. And at that point, we then license it. But the key's in the spring technology, totally.
It's such a cool and innovative idea. And I want to jump now into the launch round. Are you ready for that?
Sure.
Welcome to the launch round, where we take our guests through a series of rapid-fire questions geared towards unlocking the inner inventor and entrepreneur in all of us. Get ready to blast off and unlock your inner potential. Let's do this. Okay, so Sam, what does it mean for you to be an inventor, a creator?
It means that I'm free to just go with my ideas. So there's no one stopping me or telling me, no, you can't try that. It frees me up to think outside and crazy ideas.
When you were a kid, what did you want to grow up to be?
Probably work for Lego. I had Lego all the time. In fact, I've still got my own box of Lego that my kids aren't allowed near.
God, I loved Legos as a kid. What's the biggest failure or struggle you've had in business that's really challenged you, really made you a stronger person?
I think it's the lack of money to develop. I've worked for some very big companies with big development budgets, and it's great just to say, yeah, we'll just rapid prototype that for 15 grand. And at the moment I'm having to go, no, we can't afford that. We must find a way of still creating the prototype, but doing it on a shoestring budget because I want to put my money into the manufacture for now. And that's the hardest thing is revenue to develop the new stuff.
Yeah, bootstrapping. At least you got the equity, though.
Yeah.
What are some books that have been really influential in your life, business or otherwise?
Do you know, I don't read business books. I'm more of a visual person, and I'm more of influenced by music, really. So that's a bit of a bad one. I read for pleasure, but I don't really read about other entrepreneurs.
Okay, what music or what products have really inspired you, really gotten you going?
Products, definitely Apple iPhone products. They could have put so many more things into that product. but they just put in what you need in the right place. And that for me is fantastic. It's what you leave out
that makes it perfect. And then, last question in the launch round. What's your favorite Kickstarter campaign of all time? What have you been most motivated by, really loved?
Yeah, I really like the Blaze bike light, because that's such a simple idea where they have a bike light with a laser projector of a green bike ahead of you, so drivers can see this green light projected onto the road and know that coming along the inside of them is potentially a cyclist. I just think that's such a simple idea, but such a great idea.
I hadn't heard of that one, but I'll have to check it out. That sounds cool.
Yeah, Blaze. It's really good.
And now we're going to jump out of the launch round and get a little bit more into deep stuff about you and your business. So, looking back on your campaign, there's always these mistakes, these regrets that people have. They wish they did something different. If you went back, let's say you could go back today and redo the Loop Wheels campaign, what would you change? What would you do differently?
I'd do a totally different product that was about $100, and we had an infinite number to sell. I think we were asking a big ask for people to part with, say, 1,000 UK pounds on a bike that they never would have chance to ride prior to them receiving it in the post. I think, I would pick a less risky product to kickstart.
And if you had a piece of advice to founders, inventors, entrepreneurs, people that want to make something amazing, what would you tell them? How would you change their life?
I think I would say, if you think it's a good idea and you ask a few people of knowledge of that market if it's a good idea and they all agree, then go for it, because you're never going to get feedback from your family on whether it's a good idea. You've just got to go with it, your gut feeling, and keep going.
And then my last question for you. You've been an amazing guest today, Sam. Tell people where to connect with you. Tell them, give a little pitch for Loop Wheels. If people want to check you out, see what you are, just plug yourself.
Yeah, sure. So we're Loop Wheels. We're a small company based in Nottingham in the UK. We created a brand new product, which is in-wheel suspension, and we've got a great website called loopwheels.com where you can go and see the story, understand where we come from, links to good videos so you can see the product in use. And we're on social media, Twitter, Loop Wheels again, and Facebook, Loop Wheels. So we're easy to find. And on YouTube, we've got our own channel, which again is Loop Wheels.
Guys, check them out. It's the bike wheels of the future. It's a smoother ride. You're going to enjoy it. Sam's got a great product. Thanks so much for coming on today, Sam. You've been an amazing guest. You've really helped people.
Cheers, Matt.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Art of the Kickstart, where we believe makers, inventors, and entrepreneurs are changing the world and bringing humanity forward into the future. I'm your host, Matt Ward, and it's been a pleasure guiding you through this journey of creation and innovation. I hope you're inspired by this and check out artofthekickstart.com to get more information and tactics to help you launch your own business, product, and dreams.